The 1870 census found only 10 Italian residents in New Haven. The 1880 census found 100. By the turn of the century, there were more than 70,000 Italians in New Haven. The largest group of them came from Amalfi, Scafati, Atrani, and other towns along the Amalfi coast. Worcester Square, once one of New Haven's most fashionable neighborhoods, became known as Little Naples. In 1890, it was 5% Italian. By 1920, it was more than half Italian. In some sections, 98% Italian. Something of the disdain with which the culture and religion of the Italian immigrants were regarded in New Haven can be gleaned from a poem written around 1901 by a Yale student named Sidney Dean.
The old white church in Worcester Square, where godly people met and prayed. Dear souls, they worship Mary there, Italian mother, man and maid. In gaudy southern scarves arrayed, the horrid candles smolder where the godly people met and prayed, alas, the fall of Worcester Square.
For most Southern Italians, the local village or town was the center of identity and community, and many immigrants kept a strong bond with their paisans, people from the same town, even as they moved to a new country. People from Amalfi, for example, clustered together in Worcester Square and created the Society of St. Andrew Apostle, named after Amalfi's patron saint. The society provided benefits for members in need and celebrated an annual feast in which a statue of St. Andrew was carried through the streets. The Society of St. Andrew Apostle was entirely male. Women's organization was initially more informal.
There used to be a lot of women together, yeah. They used to go every morning, they used to go to church.
They used to go to church.
And they used to come out and get into a group and they used to walk home.
And then you had all the movie
houses. Then we used to sit near the window, near where we lived, used to sit outside and used to chew the rag. The old ladies all used to chew all day long.
In the early 1920s, some of the daughters of immigrants from Amalfi decided to start a club of their own. Some of its early members got together recently to reminisce.
At that time, I mean, if you knew somebody, you would ask, if they came from Amalfi, you would ask them if they would join, you know? That's how it got started, really, by word of mouth, you know?
The St. Andrew's Ladies Society was an innovation. Formal organizations of women were hardly a Southern Italian tradition. But sometimes tradition and innovation go hand in hand. Though starting a ladies' society meant the adoption of an American form, the members remained devoted to Southern Italian traditions of saints, feasts, and miracles they had learned from their fathers and mothers. Even today, they remember sitting around in the kitchens of their homes in New Haven, hearing their parents' stories about Amalfi.
We used to listen to her again. In the wintertime, she used to sit around the stove, used to put the potatoes in the oven. My father used to have a gallon one he used to make on one side, and she used to say all these stories, and we used to listen to her. About Amalfi, about everything. About St. Andrew, the Turks.
And
My
they
mother
were,
always used to say it.
right, that's how my grandmother would tell me that
My
story.
mother always
Yeah,
used to
or
say
you
that.
say, let's see if I say it right. The Turks came in and the Amalfitani were outnumbered with their vessels. So they all prayed to St. Andrew to please help them. And the story goes that they saw this old man on the beach with a stick, and he was whittling the stick. And as every shaving fell to on the sand, a storm brewed, and it wiped out all of the ships of the Turks. So this is what they celebrate June 27th. That's the miracle of St. Andrew.
After World War II, the Paisan associations went into decline, and the tradition of feasts and processions nearly died out. The St. Andrew Society was twice forced to move by highway construction and urban renewal. Many Amalfitanis left Worcester Square for East Haven, the Eastern Shore, or more distant suburbs. By 1975, there were only about 200 Amalfitanis living in Worcester Square. But the 1970s saw an unexpected revival of Paisan associations in New Haven. For many seeking their ethnic roots, it was not enough to say they were Italian. They wanted to reclaim the strong Paisan identity of their parents and grandparents. Defunct clubs were reopened, membership grew, and feasts and processions were reestablished.
That reunion last year, we had the reunion of 5 major societies, St. Andrew, St. Mary Magdalene, St. Trophamina, which is Minori, Santa Maria della Virgin, which is Scafati, and these are all towns, and then St. Catello, which is Castellamare, Castle of the Water, and it's all along the Amalfi coast, all these little towns, and we were active, St. Andrew and St. Mary Magdalene, but the other three reactivated a few years ago, and they've got a membership now. St. Catello, they have a membership of about 150, and even St. Trophamina.
We tend to think of immigrants to America as Poles or Russians or Italians, but this is surely not the way most of them thought of themselves. Until well into the 20th century, many people in Poland or Russia or Italy had little national consciousness and identified most strongly with their own town or region. This was especially true in southern Italy, which provided Connecticut with more immigrants than any other part of the world. Most of the organizations that Southern Italians established in America reflected that strong local identity, like the St. Andrew Apostle Society of New Haven's Amalfitanis. Ethnic pride is a growing force in American life. Increasingly, Americans are willing to say, "I'm proud I'm Irish, I'm proud I'm Italian." But when the descendants of immigrants seek their roots, they often find a puzzle. Their ancestors did not consider themselves so much Irish as Dubliners, so much Italians as Amalfitanis. And so the search for roots leads back not just to another country, but to a particular hometown and its traditions. There's an ancient chant which is sung each year at the Festival of St. Andrew and taught to younger Amalfitanis. The veteran members of the St. Andrew's Ladies' Society still like to sing it.
There's a chant, a song.
Sant'Andrea nostra luce, Sant'Andrea nostra luce, l'inviutato è tua luce, nostre venti ad illustrare, nostri venti